All right, everybody, welcome back to another week of the Sports 2.0 show. This is the golf show Wednesday edition. Justin here with Grant.
What's up?
It was a pretty good week for us last week. Nothing too crazy, but overall hit some nice bets. I'm on a nice little run finally after a pretty rough into the summer, so it's nice to hit some bets here as the season winds down. I think we got Houston this week and then RSM, and then I think we're on a pretty good break, other than some weird, like a team event, and then nothing till January.
Yeah, it'll be good. We got NBA starting to kind of heat up. College basketball started last night. Obviously, football is every single weekend, so it'll be kind of good to step away from golf, watch some basketball, and then hopefully by the time these guys start to come back in the spring, we'll see some better fields, even though we got some good players this week.
Yeah, it's not a terrible field. Last week we got a decent field, and Vic kind of that course must just make sense to him because he just whooped up on him. JT didn't push him on Sunday. It would have been nice to see JT kind of push him. He faded a little, and nobody was really that close. But big time win for Vic. He's the king of Paspalum now. He's got 3 wins all on Paspalum. It's interesting that he's not a guy known for his putting, so maybe that's something to think about going forward.
Yeah, we don't have a ton of events on there either. So it's like, and to not have that many and to be as good as he is and only win on those 3, like that's kind of significant. So, it's always fun to watch him play, though. I mean, he killed my margin, which sucks. But when he plays really well, he can kind of compete with any of the good, the top guys. So it's unfortunate that JT didn't really push him there at the end, which. I mean, that would have been great TV or just kind of great drama for a Sunday, but we didn't get it. We actually hit a bunch of bets. I hit both my matchups. Like you said, I actually had Danny Lee as an outright who finished in the top 10, which was great because he was over. You could have each weighed him if you wanted and maybe got him. I don't know. Some places offered 6, maybe not 7. I don't know. But you had a top 10, Neiman over Zalatoris. We had a good week.
My matchup.
Right, in your matchup. So I think we should have another good week this week. We have some good players at the top, and we'll be in Texas. So we've had some guys who also play strictly.
I saw your card. You've got a lot of
you
got a Texas feel to it, certainly.
Yes, guys who play well down south.
Yeah. So Houston Open. It's at Memorial Park Golf Course. This is only the second time this venue has hosted this tournament. This tournament's bounced around on the schedule too. Used to be like a pre-Masters event. I think now it's in the fall. The course is difficult. It was ranked as the 5th toughest course on tour last year. It got a big redesign. I think Brooks and a couple other people helped with the redesign before the tour played it last year. It's long, par 70. It's kind of weird. It's got 5 par 3s, 3 par 5s, a couple drivable par 4s. But when they were building it, the guy mentioned that he wanted to make it difficult for the tour guys. And so he took out a whole bunch of greenside bunkers saying, look, these guys are awesome out of it. What makes it really difficult is shaved areas where the ball runs off and you've got to chip up to quick greens. So a bunch of the green complexes like that, they did adjust a couple, it sounds like, over the last year since this event was held. But if you look at the leaderboard and you kind of check where people were gaining at the top, chipping and putting was the biggest indicator of success. Obviously, you got to hit your irons well, to finish that high, but chipping and putting was the key stat. You had to chip and putt well, unless you just absolutely striped your irons. Carlos Ortiz won. It was an interesting top of the leaderboard. There were some good players here last year. Decky, DJ, Brooks were all in the top 5. So length definitely helps, but it's one of those courses that it's tight-ish. If you get off the fairway, the rough is penalizing because of those runoff areas. It's hard to hold the greens, and there are trees. Now they're set back a little from the fairway, but it helps to play in the fairway. Sepp Straka, Mackenzie Hughes, Aaron. There's some guys, Harold Varner, some guys who don't hit it quite as far up on that leaderboard as well. Some of the good chipping and putting players, and that's kind of going to be my strategy this week, is to go after those guys who chip and putt it well, and do other things as well. But that's kind of my main thing.
Yeah, I think that it's very much related to the proximity of these iron shots, because being in the fairway is pretty important with some of the rough that's on this course. Is that when you have those 200 plus shots, obviously you're going to be a little less accurate, right? As you keep moving back, balls get a little more accurate or less accurate. Now you're starting to miss more greens. Now we're getting balls that run off, kind of like you said, in those shaved areas. Now the scrambling short game starts to come into play because you can't hold all these greens. You don't have these
Yeah.
chip shots. We have big ass shots that are from 212, 206, 215, right? So I think it'll be interesting to see if we can kind of find a combo of guys who can also hit it far, but then play well, in the short game. And I think your first outright is a guy who can do that.
I think I wish Bryson would go play this course. He's a
Right.
Texas guy, and I feel like this course sets up well for him. But
Mhm.
my first outright, I think I've had him on the card the last 3 weeks. He finished second 2 weeks ago in Bermuda. Patrick Reed, they're giving him to me at 40 again. This is simple. He's the best short game player on
Yeah.
tour. It hasn't been quite as sharp lately, but I think getting him back he lives in Texas, plays a bunch in Texas. He's going to be familiar with this type of grass, and um, this is simple. 40-1 Patrick Reed on a course that demands the things that he does well. It makes sense, and he just finished second a couple weeks ago, so the game is pretty close at least.
Yeah, this fits him, especially that difficult score, like average to get difficult, right? Like I think he won at like 19 last year was the winning
13.
number. 13. Oh yeah, 13. So
Yeah.
you can have some days, but not going crazy is okay. So I think this kind of fits him a little better. 13,
Absolutely.
13 is pretty hard for a PGA Tour course. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna move over and go at 25, a little lower than you with Matthew Wolf. I'm gonna try to hit a little bit of. I mean, this isn't a long shot by any means, but it's kind of like it's pretty volatile for a guy like Wolf. Long proximity player, good on par fives, which is great. Long par fives, exactly. I think he fits here and he can hit it far and still have his long irons into these greens. He's had 2 top 10s in a row in his last 2 outings. Good approach, good putting. If we can just get his driver to really cooperate this weekend and get him in the fairway, I think we'll have a good chance because his putting will give him will kind of keep him there at the top. But if he keeps hitting these greens from long distances, it'll give him a huge advantage over some of these guys in the field.
Yeah, I like him a lot. He's playing awesome, and he's one of those guys that's a little streaky. So getting him while he's doing his thing definitely doesn't hurt. Yeah, I actually kind of like an each way on him as well. I know the odds suck for that, but like, it's nice to have insurance on a guy who's like playing really, really well. And maybe you would think about a top 10 or something for him because he's priced pretty low. But I think I'd just take the each way, take my 6 spots, and just be kind of have that as a backup for him. I don't play each ways, but for him, I think that he's playing so well that I like that play this week.
Yeah, this is a pretty like low pressure event as far as like we're gonna end the swing. We're gonna take a break.
Yeah.
I don't really seem like. I think this is where he has kind of a free mind. He goes in. He's been playing really confidently. He can go in, really get off well off the tee, and I think it'll set up really well for him because he's got those ball striking opportunities that'll give him his putter chances, and his putter is pretty damn good.
Yep, definitely. My second guy he almost kind of fits the Patrick Reed mold that like his short game is really good when it's good. Mark Leishman, 45-1. He kind of goes through lulls with the putter, but when he's on, it's like really, really good. We saw that earlier this fall. 4th at the Fortinet, 3rd at Shriners, gained 7 strokes putting in both those events. He gains chipping most weeks. He's a good chipper. His iron play has been okay, not awesome, but it's been pretty good. This course makes a lot of sense for him. He hits it pretty far, and I just like the fact that he's like a proven winner. This field isn't like loaded with proven winners. There's some guys, obviously, but not a lot down in his range. I mean, you see him with Tringali and Bezadenhout and Lanto Griffin. Like those guys are good players, but Leishman's won some big events. I have more confidence in Leishman than some of those guys, and he's been playing pretty good.
Yeah, this is good because if you have him on Sunday, you feel good with a guy like Mark Leishman. When you have, like I said, a guy like Wolf, he can win, but you're like, I don't know. I'm not sure this is going to happen. Leishman's a guy you just kind of feel safe. You feel comfortable with a guy like him. If he plays well, he for sure has that upside to win. I'm going to go on a little bit more of just like a pure upside number here, and that's 90-1 with Munoz.
I like this.
Munoz 90-1. I couldn't really find anything in that like.
It was tough.
I struggled to find someone in that like the 30 to like 70 to 60 range was hard for me to find somebody. So then I even thought about EVR. Obviously, Brooks at 28 is like if you could get him at 30 at the beginning of the week, you should have bet that. But 28 now is still pretty good on Brooks here, especially at a difficult golf course. But I like Sebastian Munoz at 90 because of the upside that he has. He won the 2019 Sanderson, which is also a Bermuda event, which is going to be great. He got top 5 of the Zozo in his last outing, so he's going to be fine coming in. Good ball striking. Bad part of his game is his short game, which we talked about being pretty important, but we hope that it flips. He has the upside. We've seen him do it before, and we just hope we hit one of those weeks and we hit the 90 number, because if he plays well, he'll be up there. The problem is he does, he could really screw himself in the short game, but if we get lucky, we get lucky.
He's a nice play. He's played really well in Texas. I think
Yeah.
I think we bet him some in Texas before, and that's kind of paid off. He's just a nice upside play because his ceiling is so high. He's shown that he can just go birdie every hole. So I don't mind that at 90 at all. I looked at him in some matchups as well. I didn't find one that I really loved, but he's kind of a guy that I wouldn't mind playing in a matchup because his upside's so high.
He's a fun guy to watch too when he's on TV and he's really going.
He literally could birdie the whole front nine.
Like his ball striking is crazy to watch on TV. Like it's just like at the hole, at the hole, at the hole. So I hope that I just have that crazy viewing experience and I have like a 90 hanging on him come Sunday and he's in like fourth. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes, but I like the number and I struggled to find somebody in the 50s range.
Yep. I'm gonna go for top 10 with Cam Smith. I really wanted to bet him outright. I just think this course fits perfect for his game. It demands a lot of your short game, and he's an awesome short game player. His irons have gotten a lot better over the last year or so. Before he was kind of all putting, but his driver and his irons have come around. 9th at the CJ Cup, 14th at the Tour Championship. He hasn't finished worse than 34th since June, and you get a pretty fair number on him at plus 240. He's just playing really good golf. He's one of the better players in this field, and he's got the short game to kind of tame this course.
Yeah, I love Cam Smith. Unfortunately, he's going to be on the opposite end of a matchup I have coming up, but that's not because of Cam Smith. That's because of the number, and I think it was a little bit mispriced. That's okay. The volatility of golf, you have to take advantage of those numbers. But I really like Cam Smith. If he plays well, he's going to be way up there because he has the game that fits a lot of these holes and a lot of the style of golf that we're going to play this weekend. Yeah,
definitely.
I have the Texas guy for my top 10, Scotty Scheffler. Top 10, 220. Went to Texas for college, top 5 last week, which was great for him coming in. Not a great putter, but Bermuda is his best work, his best surface of his bad putting. Yeah. So he gains strokes, goes up when there's average or difficult scoring on the courses, which I also like, which I think will fit here this weekend, as we saw last year. I think he has a big year coming. I don't have a lot of stuff. I mean, Scotty Scheffler, we've all seen him. We all know who he is. I think he's going to have a good year. I like him playing in Texas. I'm going to bet the top 20 because I just have some trust in him.
Yeah,
top 10.
I like it a lot. Scotty's really good in Texas, playing good golf. It's kind of a no-brainer on a course that, hitting it far is somewhat of an advantage.
Right.
So top 20, I'm going back to a guy that I really like him. I've made some money on him in the past. Christian Bezuidenhout. He is a really, really good putter, particularly on Bermuda.
His
really
short
good.
Game is outrageous right now. It's like number one on everything.
He's super good short game player. His irons actually have been decent if you go back to the last, rounds that have been tracked on Fantasy National. He plays a lot in on the European Tour, which I think he has a win pretty recently on the European Tour. He's just playing good golf, 15th at Mayakoba last week, and his short game is so good. And it's particularly on Bermuda. I think I bet him. I can't remember what earlier in the spring. I think it was at WGC that Morikawa won. I was on him, and he played well. He's just a really good Bermuda player, and that's just plus 240 is a really good number in this field.
I did some lists for my model this week, and I had Bermuda putting, short game in general, and then also Bermuda specific short game. So that's chipping in, or that's around the green, and putting for short game Bermuda. He was number 1 in all 3 of them for last 24 rounds.
He's a really, really good short game player.
He obviously knows what he's doing there. He got 5th at the BMW on November 9th. So that's pretty good coming in too, which off on the European.
Yeah.
I really like that play. The stats really back up a guy like that. I got Ryan Palmer on my top 24 to 1. This is a little bit weird because I can't remember which book it is, but the two book, one was 220 and one was 4 to 1 for the top 20. Right. I can't remember which one was which, but it was like way off differently. And I liked him anyway. And I was like, oh, I'm going to bet that now. So we got a little bit of a weird pricing thing on Ryan Palmer this week. Courses of 7,400 yards and a par 70. Brooks is number 1, so put that into your Brooks stats for the week. And then on that short list right behind Brooks, Ryan Palmer's right there. So I really like that. His long proximity, long iron play is really, really, really good. But he's been quiet. He got 27th last week. Bermuda is the only surface that he gains on for putting. I think this 4-1 number is wrong because I think he has the talent. I mean, he obviously has the talent, but I think the course fits him enough where it should be a little lower. And I think that 220 is a little bit more realistic on a guy like Ryan Palmer because, when the guys like him play in places that they, can do well at, it just makes sense. It happens all the time with these guys. So I like him here. I like him in Texas, and a course where he can really take advantage of being better at other people at long proximity shots.
Yeah, and I like him on Bermuda. He's better. He's a better putter on Bermuda. At least the numbers kind of bear that out. So I don't have any issue with that as well. Matchups, I had a hard time finding one that I really, really loved.
Tough.
It was a lot of the same guys just paired up against each other, and picking against one of those top guys is tough. I know that you're doing that with yours. I don't mind yours. I'm going
Every
down.
book had 45 Neiman matchups. It was it was the same guys over and over and over again. Tony Finau, Neiman. It was the same dudes. It's we let's mix it up a little bit.
Yeah, I'm going to go a little bit farther down the list. I'm going to take Mackenzie Hughes over Harold Varner. This is a little bit
baby
ballsy because Varner's been playing really good, but I don't know if I'm the Hughes whisperer, but I seem to always I have a sense of when Mackenzie Hughes is going to play well. And he's unbelievable putter. He's just one of the best putters on tour. And in this course, ask a lot of your chipping and putting. He's one of the best at it. I'm just going to take him. Harold Varner traditionally has sucked ass at putting, one of the worst guys on tour. He's been better of late, but I don't trust that necessarily. If Varner plays well, obviously that sucks. But I like Hughes' putting upside. He played well here last year. I just like Mackenzie Hughes.
Varner lost almost 5 strokes putting on the CJ and missed the cut last week, so I like that. Hopefully,
he's kind of trending back down just a fuzz after some really good play. So maybe we're gonna catch that low swing.
We're gonna kind of buy the dip, right? Bring that into golf a little bit.
Yeah, there you go.
But I like it, and like you said, if you have something that you feel confident in calling a guy where he's gonna play well, then you got to keep riding it because it's gonna work.
Yep.
So, this matchup stinks. I'm gonna say this, but it's Sung Jae over Cam Smith, and Sung Jae is the dog, and I don't understand why.
Yeah, so when I was looking through there, I thought I tried to find a way to bet Sung Jae outright, and I looked at the numbers. I'm like, that ain't happening.
No.
And then I was like, all right, is there a matchup I can get Sung Jae on? Because he's such a good short game player, and I just couldn't find one that I loved. So I see where you're going with this.
I don't like it, but I have to bet it. It's he's the dog, but you can't not bet this. I get it, Cam Smith, but Cam Smith, every golfer, it could go up or down every week. It's unpredictable as hell. You have it's just you have to bet this. So he's on Bermuda. Sung Jae on Bermuda. He didn't even get his win on Bermuda, which is kind of funny. Which I hit also, which is crazy. He's on Bermuda. He's good too. He followed up a win with a top 10, which he's really good. Whatever. But I think that says a lot about him in his years, that he's a golfer and he just wants to golf. That's just kind of his life.
He could win this thing. That's what I like about
it. His life is golf. He literally didn't have a house for the years. He's it's crazy. So getting a win didn't affect him in a negative way. Just he's just going to keep on pushing, keep on pushing, keep on pushing. His form is obviously crazy good. I just got the win, and I just said the top 10. Great ball striking, great short game. Mix that with the Bermuda. Long proximity is fine. I can't say anything bad about Cam Smith. I can't, but I have to bet this. He's the dog, and I think he should be the favorite, if not the same odds. I don't understand how it isn't the same.
Yeah, well, that was kind of my thing with the Hughes matchup as well. Plus 100. It's I don't really understand why Harold Varner's not very good. So I get it. Definitely, I like Sung Jae a lot this week. If I could have found a 25 on him, maybe I could have earlier in the week. I would have probably bet him outright. Yeah. So I don't hate that at all. My penny stock pick of the week, it's kind of slim pickings down there. There wasn't a lot of guys in super good form, but I'm going to ride Nate Lashley over the last 12 rounds. So like super, like super recent form. Last 3 events basically. He's first in strokes gained short game. He's second in strokes gained putting. Or third in strokes gained short game and first in putting. 33rd off the tee. So he's getting out there a little bit. 2 top 20s and a 35th in his 3 of his last 4 starts. And a top 40 on him is plus 240. So I don't want any part of like a Nate Lashley outright. He's like kind of a head case, and I don't really think he can win. But a top 40 on a guy who's putting really, really well and has a really good short game. He's gained around the green in like 12 of his last 14. He's gained over 6 strokes putting his 2 of his last 3 starts. So I like him quite a bit.
Yeah, and I think that something we forgot to mention about the difficulty of the course is that we're going to start in courses like this, right? It's kind of comparable to like those major championships where the kind of the cream rises to the top, right? So taking an outright on a guy like Lashley's not probably the best idea, but it's good because he can still play well, like you said. But I think that goes
top
along.
40.
Right, I think that goes along well with our outrights. Is that we have guys who are really good at golf on our outrights. Munoz is a little bit farther back, but his talent is way up there. So
he's a winner.
Yeah, we're going to see some guys who are really good at golf at the top of the leaderboard. It's going to, when the golf course really starts to get hard, it starts to show more flaws. So we'll see how it goes, but I think that's a great pick. I'm going to hit the margins. My back is against the wall right now in the margins. I'm like in a boxing fight, just getting haymakered every 5 seconds.
You're on the ropes a bit.
Yeah, I'm about to get knocked out, but I'm not dead yet. 1 stroke winner and a playoff winner, 1 stroke 225, playoff winner 350. The scoring is going to be a little lower. I hope we have 2 guys that are at the top. Hopefully it's Sebastian Munoz and Matt Wolff, but they just go into the playoff. That'd be great if we split it and got the money. But we got to switch things up because they ain't working. But we've actually been doing pretty well betting wise. I just wish we had like a little cherry on top with these. It just hasn't been hitting, but it's okay.
Right.
We'll keep going. We're going to keep powering through. 1 stroke winner and playoff winner. I think I actually like the playoff this week, so we'll see how it happens.
Yeah, it's been a little bit out of the norm, but let's mix it up and see what we got.
Who's your favorite?
This one's easy. This was almost the easiest pick for me all week. Seamus Power, top 20. I think I found him on FanDuel at plus 230.
He's been so good.
21st, 12th, 11th the last 3 weeks. We saw him do this over the summer. He went on like a 7-week run of top 20s. He can clearly get hot. He's a super good iron player. He's a really, really good putter. He's just good across the board.
Right.
Like we saw, he can get crazy, crazy hot. He's just really good. And Bermuda is one of his best putting surfaces. And he's one of the better putters out there. He's been like, nobody really like talks about. You don't hear shit about Seamus Power, but like that dude's putting up serious top 20s. Now, not in like the greatest events, but I have to imagine his world rank it had to have jumped like a shitload in the last little while. So, he's a guy that you're still finding pretty good numbers on. Take advantage of what you can because he was
on my card on this show like a month ago. Like he's been playing well for a really long stretch. This is not a fluke. He's a good player and he continues to play well. So I like that a lot. I mean, the numbers are great. The numbers are great on him right now.
Definitely.
I'll keep it quick. We'll wrap this up. I got EVR over Max Homa minus 110. Max Homa has only played once since his win. So you could say he's in recent form, whatever, but he hasn't played that much since he won. And he missed that. He played really bad too. So I'm going to rely on that putter being bad for Homa. He's not a great putter, but when he does, he plays really well. So I'm trying to rely on that putter staying bad. And I like EVR this week. He's a good long proximity player. He got top 20 last year at this event, which is great. This event's only been played at this course 1 year. Last year was the first year. Form is good. Made 7 out of 8 last cuts. 4 top 25s in those 8 events, which is great. He's very solid at everything. Long par 5s is particularly good. What he's good at, which also I like for this course. Right. He's a good putter. He just kind of doesn't have many holes, EVR, and he's been playing pretty well. So I'm going to kind of keep that trust with him and hope that Homa's putter kind of doesn't really show up because he hasn't really done much since he won, and I think that number is pretty good, minus 110, just on a little juice on a guy who I have pretty good faith is going to play okay.
Yeah, until Homa proves that he can do something outside of the West Coast, I don't have any problem betting against him and other places of the country. He will pop every now and then, but he is just not very consistent not on in the West Coast. So
Right.
I like that quite a bit. EBR makes sense at this course as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that was it for this week. Hopefully we stay hot and have another good week. Finish it off the next week with the RSM, another good week, and then we'll take a little break here. So good luck on everybody's bets, and we'll see you next week.
Love it.